back. We're live and alive, and Molly's here, and we've just done a lot of deep conversation over some chaotic Bayonetta. But now it's time for your actual interview. Molly, are you ready to get actually interviewed?
As
On
ready as I'll ever be.
I it could be true or not. I'm not quite sure, but at least you're ready for now. Next up is the part that used to be something Daisy is insecure about, and I think has become their favorite part of the show. Is that right, Daisy?
Yes, I think that this is true. I'm not insecure about doing it. I'm insecure that I always forget it.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, we're not forgetting it tonight, and that is to thank the sleuths. You may see me and Dom all the time on Twitch. It's a lot of us, a lot of our guests, a lot of other people from Folkwise. But what you don't know is that those other people from Folkwise also do a lot more not on camera as well. Notably for this element of the show, the interview sleuthing team. Every week they help us come up with the great questions that you love and that our guests love, or find interesting or challenging or thought provoking or whatever. So if you hear a question that you like, or that you think is funny, or that Molly likes, or whatever, don't think me and Dom. Think the sleuths, who are wonderful, beautiful, intrepid, infallible,
Oh,
genius,
oh, that's not true.
loquacious.
That's not true. Well,
They're all of those
loquacious,
things. They're all of those things. So
are we doing a thing? Are we doing a thing now? Where we are like revealing the sleuth to the guest?
I think upon relevance, yeah. I mean, people can always ask. I would always tell them. But you mean like live on Twitch?
No, and then going in, thank you, because we did that a couple weeks ago, and thank you to Sleuth
That's
X
true.
and Sleuth Y who helped with these questions. I kind of like giving credit.
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's do it.
Thank you to Sleuth Caitlin and Sleuth Chrissy who helped with these questions. Yeah, I knew you would have that reaction, Molly. All right.
Yeah, thanks to them also.
Yeah.
Digging through my probably very weird, stupid trash.
It was fun.
Cringy.
Not weird or stupid at all. Very fun, in fact.
Molly, first question for you. You know, you've lived in places as varied as the Pacific Northwest, the Midwest, and Newfoundland from left to right. So what are what are the nuances of LGBTQ plus expressive culture in each of the places you've lived?
Oh my gosh, what a great first question.
Thank you, sleuths.
One I actually haven't tangibly thought about. I'll start with Lansing because that's like basically that's how I started. That's how I the reason I started a dissertation is because I was like, I want to talk about Rust Belt queers because I think that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Lansing, the capital of Michigan, but it's like totally post-industrial. Used to be a factory town, auto factory, and now most of them are gone. And I think there's like a big punky, but also like urban farmers. Really cool. Also, like this is also kind of the major focus of my dissertation is that there was historically a very lively lesbian community in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And like, little old Lansing. So I think punky, lesbian, yeah, I mean, I want to say cool, but I'd probably say cool for everybody. Lansing. And then in Eugene, on Oregon, I was just there, so I think I'm mostly basing this off of Tinder now.
Yeah.
And Tinder in Oregon is like very trying to be politically correct. I'm anti-cop, trying to be anti-racist, queers, like and that's all. Those are all good things, except for it's like the kind of like queers where they like police you, particularly the white queers. They like police you if you don't know the latest terms or if you don't understand why cops are bad, like that kind of thing. Yeah. And then in Newfoundland, I was in Newfoundland. Oh, also like the kind that in Oregon, the kind who are like outdoorsy, jump in waterfalls and rock climb. like not really
Yeah.
my vibe.
Anyone born after
Yeah.
1996 can't cook. All they know is jump in waterfall, rock climb, charge their phone. Yeah.
Did someone say that in chat?
I'm saying it
No,
now.
Dom is
You're saying
inventing
it
this.
now. No, that is so true. And then Newfoundland, I was there from 2013 to 2015, so I don't totally know. Uh, and also, I wasn't like totally into like, I was just emerging into my own queerness then, I guess you could say,
That's
which
fair.
is really funny because I don't talk about myself that often. So, damn, flus.
As much as this is
Hell yeah.
as much as that is like a personal question, though, it is also like a question about like expressive culture of like a overarching subgroup, but that gets just like, of course, the way expressive culture works gets expressed differently depending on like various factors, including where you are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
didn't mean it to be about yourself, but you did like some. I feel like you summed up the regions pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, how can you know something if you don't know it through your own knowledge first, right?
Damn, Daisy, that's a chat command.
Yes, honestly.
So, kind of, Molly, circling back to the post-industrial collective angst of Lansing, you've suggested in your personal life in writing that Michigan is, or that the Midwest is overlooked nationally. But what specifically from Michigan should we be not overlooking? What should we be looking for when we look at Michigan?
Hmm. That's a good question. I want to think of it in a couple ways. Like, what should you be looking at when you Coney dogs?
Oh,
Just kidding.
hey,
Oh my god, yes.
now you're speaking my language,
Hell
and by that I
yeah.
mean chapter 4 of my dissertation. But
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, talk about like knowing something through your own experience or some whatever self knowledge. I mean, like I'm sure other people would have different answers, obviously, but I think my whole thing, I got into rural queer studies with some of my friends,
Mhm.
and the idea of like queerness coming from a non-cosmopolitan place, a non-metropolitan place, like largely not the main coastal areas, was
Mhm.
really interesting and I think compelling, because I think queer history up until recently, I think, has been written from a coastal perspective,
Yeah.
and if not scholarly, like just in the social imagination. I mean, even with queer people too, it's like, where do you think queer culture is? New York or San Francisco? Well, I don't think that's true. I think you should come to Lansing,
Come to Delaware.
and or Delaware, yeah, or Delaware, or there's like retirement lesbian retirement communities popping up everywhere, like
Mhm.
Kansas, Florida, obviously Florida, but um I guess I don't know about Michigan in particular, but just like go somewhere else and experience queerness somewhere else other than uh RuPaul's Drag Race and um New York or San
And-
Francisco. And I say that with both my sisters are like diehard Drag Race fans.
um, because I know there's definitely like discourse. Oh yes, the call out. Ruby says in chat. I know there's like a definite like there's a discrete discursive trope that you've like kind of hit on with like the idea of like the Midwest gay or like the Rust Belt gay, but or the Midwest gay. But I guess I'm asking like, is there a finer line? Uh, is there like a finer delineation to like specifically the Rust Belt as opposed to the Plains? As someone who cares a lot about Lansing.
Oh, like the Rust Belt versus like what you just said, the plains?
Yeah, yeah. Is there something specific about the? I mean, because the I'm trying. I guess I'm trying to subgroup, because there's like the idea of like queer culture comes from the coast, but there's also the Midwest gay. But what's going on in the Rust Belt specifically?
Yeah. So I think exactly what you said. You have to like think of the history of what Rust Belt is.
Mm-hmm.
Rust Belt meaning a bunch of factories were here in the Rust Belt, kind of the upper Midwest, and because of like the emergence of neoliberalism, factories going elsewhere, they all left and just left
Mm-hmm.
these kind of concrete jungles, just like empty factories that have been deteriorating and leaving toxins in the environment. But anyway, so you have to think about that history of the Rust Belt.
Mm-hmm.
Economically, I think in conjunction with the queer history. So like for me, a Rust Belt queer, I don't want to generalize too much, but like has
Of
this
course.
kind of like awareness of class.
Mm.
Um, like there in Lansing generally, I would say there's like a working class ethic because of the car factories. Um, yeah, I know this is really like there's no explanation for this, but I think of potholes. Just like
I
there's
I 100% understand. You could have led with potholes, and my little Toledo and heart would go, yeah, that's right.
yeah, I mean maybe there's something queer about potholes that I need to write queer theory based on potholes.
Well, think about this. Can you drive straight over a pothole?
You're screwed if you do.
You're screwed if you try to be straight going over a pothole. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
have to go really, really, really fast. Totally not
No.
dangerous at all.
Okay,
Totally
kiss your axle goodbye.
Yeah.
Daisy, do you have a follow up in chat, Daisy?
Yes.
Go for
I
it.
had to write it down.
Say it aloud. Say it aloud.
I was just thinking about like the conversation circling like a relationship to land that comes into play with the expressions of queerness or queer identities that I think gets like when you're talking about coastal queers or Midwest queers or like Rust Belt versus Plains queer or whatever, like that, like connecting it to some kind of biome or like ecological occurrence is very interesting to
Jumping
me.
in waterfalls.
Jumping in waterfalls, whatever, yeah, like whatever it is, like is very interesting because I think that I feel like in stuff I've read, the nuance gets like between it in a way. Being queer is so written as uncommon that it becomes the unifying identity of this huge group of people across the entire continent. And so things like relationships to land and how that might influence an expression of queerness just gets kind of lost. So it's interesting being able to notice, like, as a queer person in these different spaces, what the expressions of queerness is like in relation to land, which is constantly informing everybody's personal and identity expressions in different ways. But it also adds like another layer. I don't want to say it's like, I mean, intersectional, maybe. It's like a little bit different than that because that's not really how the term is traditionally used, but some kind of other layer of nuance to what it means to be queer in a different kind of space gets just kind of like left out of a lot of queer theory, big capital Q, capital T.
Is it intersexual or is it polysemic?
Well,
Oh gosh.
Well, now we've lost the chat. Now we've lost the chat.
Yeah, I'm like, we're using too many big words, but yeah.
Daisy, to add on to that too, I mean to keep rolling that ball, I think when you think about like like queer as an umbrella term, or even LGBTQ plus as an umbrella term, I mean oftentimes we use that. Oftentimes there's there's a normativity within that too, and that normativity is usually like the white, maybe even upper class, queer person, however they might identify within that. And so that relationship to land is inherently, as we all know, inherently informed by an experience as a settler colonialist,
Totally.
Or like a descendant of a settler colonialist, and we're still in those relationships right now to to LGBT people, indigenous LGBT people, like two-spirit people, which and indigenous people of color.
Yeah,
So
and
that was an interesting point you made.
yeah,
Agreed.
well, I'm just noticing the pattern in the way that you two are kind of riffing off of it. So I just wanted to highlight how it's making me think about stuff. I don't have any answers, but it's making me think about stuff. So that's
I don't have
the fun
any
part. That's the
answers.
fun
Good.
part.
Kind of sticking on the regional theme, but first with an anecdote. So when I got started in the state of Florida, my position, mainly thanks to COVID, was empty for 2 years, and it also moved. The actual job moved to a new department. So basically, when I started, my boss told me, "Oh, the festival's in 6 months, and I think you do that." But the opposite for you, Molly. What's it like working on a festival that gets canceled and reformed in a few months?
Oh my god.
I tried to just throw you into that one. Smoke screen.
Oh my god. I'm my cheeks are getting red because I'm not a huge drinker, but I've been drinking wine.
Hell yeah. Woo for us.
Seriously. Um yeah, so before I did my PhD, I was working at the Michigan Traditional Arts Program, and halfway through me saying that, I was like, wait, if I'm going to talk about it being canceled, maybe I shouldn't mention the place, but whatever. And they had a long running
Oh yeah.
folk festival,
Oh yeah.
which is like, I'm sure you all have talked about it a lot on the channel. Like, one of the what do you call it? Like, one of the main pillars of public folklore programs, state folklore programs. The festival.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd worked at MTAP for a couple of years, and each year I kind of like took on a little bit more responsibility, but by any means I was like not an important person within the. I was not, I'm not like directing the festival or anything, obviously. And then the MSU Museum had a new director come in, and Dom, I'd like to know your take on this, to your experience or your take, and maybe this gets to a larger question in the chat, but that the new museum director was like, we need to talk about science, and meanwhile there's like wonderful like folk life cultural collections at this museum.
Yeah.
And so there's this like tension, there was this tension between science and culture. So like, I guess my question for the chat is like, I don't know, when you go to a museum, do you like would you rather see the science stuff or the culture stuff, or like how do you integrate that? How would you like to see that integrated? Anyway, I guess this is way too long of an answer for it, which is just that
Not on this show. Keep
he
going.
like I probably 6 months out, he canceled the festival. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, I forgot. Yeah, okay, so for some reason, I don't know why, um the position of like hiring the music and dance, and for the Great Lakes Folk Festival, had opened up, and we used to contract it out, and we needed to find an internal person, and nobody wanted to do it, and I was like, I don't have the experience for that, but nobody would do it, so I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so I like worked for months trying to like, ugh, it was such, I never want to do that again. Dom, I feel so bad for you. Like, negotiating with artists how much you can pay them, and negotiating that, how much they're worth. I'm being a little bit dramatic here, but it just was not my cup of tea.
No, it's so hard, and people forget that like it can't not be personal. Like even if it isn't personal to you, but like I don't know. I just feel like that is such a hard position to be in, because no matter what, it's personal to them. It might not be personal to you, or like you would want to pay more, but they are still every day impacted by the amount of money that they end up receiving.
And I don't know what
It's
it's
so
like.
hard.
I don't
Yeah.
know what it's like because that position's through MSU, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if MSU has a how flexible they are with reimbursement for gas. But state governments infamously aren't. And then in the middle of negotiations, Russia invades Ukraine, and gas is suddenly twice as expensive. So that was like the worst thing ever. I'm just like, there's one thing I can't be flexible on, you know?
Yeah, that sounds. I think that's a good example of like there are so many variables that are just like super hard to control when like booking a
Yeah,
festival. And I guess I
yeah.
have like
Vladimir Putin goes to war across the world. Suddenly, the airboat guy from Miami can't afford the drive. Yeah, you
yeah,
never think about that when you're in folklore grad school.
no, no, you don't.
Yeah,
And you know, even though I mean, like I don't even think like taking a like business management that wouldn't help either. It's like literally you just have to like learn on the job, I think.
yeah. It's a
Yeah,
lot
so
of
like
kind of like being a surgeon. There's a lot of things you just need to like. You just need to have like the muscle memory for it. It's like you can take practicums, but damn.
yeah. Yeah, well, like speaking of learning on the job, so like they canceled the festival. I had to be like
Nice.
telling all the artists like, "I'm so sorry, we like are canceling." And like you have lost that income, like people who had started to book their
Yeah.
summers around, it was horrible. So we decided because we had like grant money to pivot to just do like a small local festival, and I actually think that was like pretty fun working with local Michigan artists and trying to think about um kind of like on a very short leash changing up as much as I could the festival music
Mm-hmm.
and dance programming a little bit. Um yeah, so we had like like local hip hop artists and a really cool all woman um mariachi band.
Nice.
So, yeah, but that was like it was a
Hell
one-time
yeah.
thing, and then the festival has not happened again. I think that was in 2018. So it was a heck of a summer and very
Yeah.
stressful. And I probably was like a big drama queen to everyone.
Kind
But
of, kind of like understandably, right? I mean, like people got it.
yeah, but I mean, you know, and it didn't happen just by myself. There were a bunch of people
We
who were
were,
working on it. So
yeah.
you know, yeah, yeah.
Um,
So how's your festival going?
can't wait to do it with a year's experience. But I mean, if you really want the update, it came together in 6 months and grew my. It's the reason I have a beard because I kind of stopped shaving in the last month just because I was rolling out of bed at like 7:30, being
Oh,
like, "Oh shit, I gotta go to work in a half hour." And
oh my
I worked a
gosh.
lot of Saturdays, spent a lot of Saturdays on the phone with people. A lot of people dropped out again because there was like a COVID surge like 2 weeks before the festival. One of the performers didn't drop out and still got COVID. Um, but we made it happen, and I've been processing. We've been editing the highlight videos for YouTube, which are going to drop soon. But just going over all of that like footage, I'm just like, damn, we did a good job for the odds stacked against us. And
Oh, good.
it's one of those things where you're always going to like do something like that, even if the festival goes perfectly, and you're just going to see the things that didn't go the way you thought they were gonna. But I don't think the average festival goer could tell, and I'm proud of that.
That's
Um,
good. That's you should be proud.
uh, I'm turning over the fieldwork last year from this like last fiscal year, which is like our fieldwork schedule, to the state archives. But that means those are the artists we're gonna invite to the festival this next year. So I've got like my must haves list. I've got my depth chart, so to speak. I made it a tier list because of course I did. But my S tier artists coming up, and apprentices are always there, and we got all our apprenticeship applications in, and we're gonna announce them in like a month. So everything's already like Festival 23 hype is already starting up, and I'm going to invite all of my friends to Festival 23 because Festival 22 is very much like go if you want, but I'm gonna be freaked out. So thank you for
Cool.
asking, Molly. That's where I'm at. So, can
Yeah,
I see you in Memorial Day in Florida, 23? check out
maybe.
check out some I don't know, pork roast, blacksmithing, fire dancing, fire themes. It's fire. It's fire is the theme.
That seems appropriate.
Thank you. Um, next question I want to move on to. In Molly, in what ways did early country radio subvert the performance of gender norms?
You guys really did a deep dive, eh?
Thank you, sleuths.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So that was like, I think that's a question getting at my first master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
Academia is not as cool as it seems like when you start it. Um, which was in ethnomusicology at Memorial University, which is where I first heard of folklore, and I was like, "What the hell is folklore? That's really stupid." But anyway, I went there because yeah, I play like old time music, and so I was like, I want to research this, and I was like, but old time music is too close, so I'll like choose something else. So I was like, oh, early country music. Anyway, and I don't know how you all feel about this. Like when you do something either academically or creatively, and then 5 years later, or even like a month later, you're like, oh my god, why did I write that? That's so horrible. I kind of feel like that about all of my work, but
I think that's why
yeah. So,
dissertations are so hard, right? Because you always have to be like next chapter, and then you look at the previous chapter and go, "What the fuck was I thinking last month?" Yeah.
Yeah.
oh god, I have that to look forward to. Yeah, but gender in country music, early country music. What I did learn about that is that there are early on, of course, is like the 20s and 30s.
Mm.
Um, as you know, very stereotypical roles for men and women, and only men and women, right? Um, I'm being sarcastic. And so like within country music, which was like such, and maybe still is, but such a symbol for like modernity, American modernity especially. So you
Yeah.
really like are thinking about the nuclear family. And so like the roles for women within that were really constrained. And of course this is the time of emerging radio, which was like really coming also out of vaudeville theater. And
Sure.
so there's like so anyway, there were like certain types of characters that women could be, like the pal who was like not sexually available but like joked around with men, the sweetheart, things like that. But I focused on I forget the actual name of this character, and maybe my whole master's was like, and this is a new character, but which was basically like the old comedic aunt character, and she kind of could fill this space that was like um rowdy and kind of go against all the traditional gender norms that were upholding American modernity at that time. And she could be sexual when older women were largely not considered sexual. She could be funny. I mean, what I also found, I was looking at this one radio program, the Run for Valley Barn Dance, which is coming out of Kentucky, which is that she was actually the most popular performer. Which is like, wait, are you kidding? This person who like has a comedic act where you can't really even understand what's happening over the radio. They had a lot of live shows because it was like the sound was so lo-fi, and also like her comedic act while singing was like to sing really poorly, kind of like a quote unquote hillbilly. So like that she's the most popular performer, like really? It's not like some like man crooner singing about, like horrible nostalgia of like the South. Anyway, so I thought that was
Or
really
just if you're talking
fascinating.
early
And
country, I assume it's some guy who does something in relationship to a train.
yeah. I mean, that was probably there was also like character types for men. The railroad hobo guy, the
Yeah.
the Bradley Kincaid like crooner, the old like racist Grandpa Jones. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they were all pretty racist. So yeah,
Uh,
that's the long story.
well,
The the
Chad is
chat
yeah.
stands whiskey on.
I was gonna say Chad is kind of
What?
fighting if it's lesbian ant or whiskey ant, but
What? Wait, can you say that again?
Chad's having a fight whether this character you're describing is the lesbian ant or the whiskey ant.
Oh, what are some of the arguments for? I don't actually. What is a whiskey ant? Can you tell me?
What is a whiskey ant? I think it would be easy to find an example. Lesbian
To me,
whiskey aunt.
to me,
Oh, there we
like
go.
the le- that
We
I was
just
gonna
got
say, like,
thesis,
they're
antithesis, synthesis right here. We got
yeah,
Hegelian in the chat. We created lesbian whiskey aunt. I think that is the character you're describing.
There
yeah.
you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Daisy? Who's a famous whiskey aunt like in popular culture? I think if any of the Real Housewives are unmarried, they automatically become a whiskey aunt.
Moira Shit from Schitt's Creek. Maybe would be if she was an aunt.
I'm thinking like
She would be that vibe. She's not a lesbian, but she would be that vibe.
like
Or like
any of the cast of Bridesmaids has a whiskey aunt energy.
Is there? Would there be a
that
difference?
one lady from Sharp Objects?
Oh yes, the lady from Sharp Objects.
Would there be a difference between a whiskey aunt and a wine aunt? Because I feel like Moira
Yeah,
would be
I
a
think
wine aunt.
that's true. Now you say that, yeah.
The whiskey
Moira-
aunt is way more badass.
That's true. She's more of a wine.
It's your
aunt,
wine mom
yeah.
in a leather jacket. Yeah, unmarried
I was
wine
just
mom in a
watching-
leather jacket.
Yeah, I was just watching Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
So it was like,
You know, I think. Oh
no, yeah,
I
you're
love
right.
Schitt's
Moira
Creek.
Rose is definitely a wine aunt. She's like a housewife's wine aunt.
She's wine mom, which is
Whis-
its own trope.
whis-
Yeah.
Yeah, whiskey aunt is not on Housewives.
Yeah, Katie Sweet Pea says whiskey aunt is trashier. Compliment.
It's in a complimentary
Yeah,
sense.
complimentary. Yeah.
I think the chat has like totally. I mean, they like basically just wrote the masters, and I think they did it. They did it in like way shorter time.
5
The
lines.
whiskey, the whiskey lesbian aunt is like totally on because there are like promotional photos of this character like on a motorcycle and shit like that.
Yes. Yeah, I'm thinking like a
Oh, yeah.
like a butch leather kind of thing going on. Like, okay, here's
Yeah.
the thesis as determined by the chat. Lesbian aunt energy, whiskey aunt, lesbian whiskey aunt, and then some examples. Moira's too airheaded. Moira is the wine mom. Very big difference. So that's the problematic to the or kind of redefinition by something that it is not or whatever. And then comes back to whiskey aunt takes you to bar to pick up women. Wine aunt says slurs. That's another distinction apparently. Melissa McCarthy and Bridesmaids.
Yes, remember that big ass sandwich she eats? That is whiskey aunt energy.
And we've officially come full circle because then Jaded December says Bayonetta is whiskey lesbian aunt in all caps.
But
Oh
then
And then
Oh my
Bayonetta
God.
is whiskey lesbian aunt who is also somehow straight edge.
the real enigma.
The enigma is Bayonetta. So this was a thesis you thought was going to be about gender studies and femininity and alcohol, but it's actually about how Bayonetta is a straight edge whiskey aunt.
And maybe this is the appeal. Yeah, maybe
who is
this
also
is
a lesbian.
part of the subversion of the Matrix is that Trinity is the rare whiskey lesbian aunt who ends up paired off by the end of the movie.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Jaded December says Bayonetta drinks absinthe like it's water. That is probably very accurate. That's because she's a witch. So this
No,
is like a whole different...
Bayonetta doesn't drink. Bayonetta has the weed
Okay,
lollipops. We know this.
What is the scale of like lesbian whiskey aunt to witch?
Oh my god.
Like is this what wait a second, is this what American Horror Story Coven was about?
This is every season of American Horror Story.
Wait a second. This was like the whiskey like lesbian whiskey aunts versus the wine moms. Isn't that what it was about?
That's Coven. Behold our new wine mom.
Isn't that what this is about? Okay. Anyway.
Oh, Jaded, you are absolutely the whiskey aunt.
Yeah,
Daisy
you
keeps saying aunt. They
okay.
also say the 75 like they're not from the Midwest.
I can explain this. Okay, I say aunt because my aunt's name is Elisa, and the alliteration if you say Elisa, Aunt Elisa is weird. So I said
Annalisa.
Aunt Elisa. Annalisa.
Yeah,
Sounds like her name is
no.
Sounds like her name is Annalisa. And her name is
KT
Aunt
Sweetpea
Elisa.
points out, or at least KT
Aunt,
Sweetpea
yeah.
has made me
Aunt
think you were
Elisa.
talking about Ontario, and I'm very confused.
Oh my god.
Oh, whiskey aunt is the first step to become a witch. We've had some great conversations about what used to be about country
This is a
music, and
lot,
now it's
yeah.
about like types of ants.
Oh my God.
But I do want to ask one
Wait,
more.
hold on. I have a really quick follow-up music question.
Okay, go for that because there's
Are
one more
you-
serious question I want to ask, but follow up.
Are you in the Facebook group called Old Time Music Shit Posting?
I was for a little bit, and
Okay,
truthfully,
that's
I'm like
fine.
ashamed to know, like even admit this, but truthfully, I don't understand how shit posting works, and so
Okay.
I was like, I can't keep up with this. It's too
Hell
much
yeah.
culture. So
That's
Yeah,
fair. Okay, I was just
shit
curious
posting
if
is
you've been
shit
aware
posting
of
is
the...
like the internet's deep play, so I completely
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
that's hilarious.
It's like you being in the Facebook group not knowing how shit posting works is like also you standing at the cockfight and being like, "Won't this hurt the chickens?" And everyone looks at you and goes, "Uh-huh."
That is such a good analogy, Dom. I love that.
Thank you.
I should also say though, like I am a fan of Benton's Dreams work
Yeah.
with
Oh my God.
memes.
And other people from old
funny.
time shit posting have been in the stream. Benton's Dream also.
Yeah.
Rachel Banjo Rachel has showed up in chat a couple
Yes.
times. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think I met Rachel in chat, which is really funny.
Hell yeah. Look at this. Friendship, community.
Molly,
What
last
more
thing I
do you
have
want?
to make sure I ask is how does folk culture emerge from engaging with algorithms?
Ooh, one of my current
Nailed it.
favorite topics.
Thank you, Sleuths.
Yeah, seriously, Sleuth, thank you for letting me go on and talk about all this
You're
stuff,
on
which is
fire,
probably really
Sleuths.
boring to everyone.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
If this boring, we've been derailed talking about types of aunts. I think they're into this.
It's absolutely important. That's an important topic. Ants are like really powerful in our society.
Oh yeah. Oh
Probably
yeah.
like probably like the most maybe I'm like shit now. Maybe I'm shit posting now. Like ants are the most radical like people in the structures of our society. Anyway,
Hey,
uh
I've got some uncle opinions that would be uncalled for now, but let me just say, like, I think there's something there.
yeah, with algorithms. Okay, so my whole thing, I'm gonna try and keep it short, but I'm like trying. Okay, I say I'm like trying to work on a paper, but I actually have not started. I haven't, worked on
Big
it this
mood.
summer at all. But yeah, I've like presented it at like 4 different conferences. About lesbian TikTok, which I call cyborg.
Yeah.
They're all cyborg lesbians in the best way possible, kind of. And how lesbian TikTok talks about the algorithm, the TikTok algorithm, and like the short of it is that this is like my whole thing, and I wish in some ways I could change my dissertation to this. I just think that like folklore is incredibly important for understanding how everyday people understand everyday interactions with the algorithms. Because the thing is, and I know this only because I watched that stupid ass documentary on Netflix, which everyone else did too, and I forget the name of it now, but it was about algorithms and shit.
I didn't
Um,
apparently.
really?
I was too
What is
busy.
it? The Social Dilemma.
Didn't
You should
watch it.
watch it.
I'm too busy playing video games apparently.
Yeah, well, the thing is like, and you even read this in scholarly articles, like programmers will like program algorithms for this shit, and then the algorithms will just grow, and even programmers don't even understand. I mean, like there have like Nick Seaver is this anthropologist who works on algorithms, and he has written about how even programmers like don't understand how their algorithms like change and take on their own kind of lives. And so I think it's so important, like that is such a big piece of technology that is like shaping all of our digital interactions in so many different ways and so many important ways that we need to pay attention to, like talk about algorithmic uses in policing. But so I think it's really important not just to look at like how does the tech world understand algorithms, and shift to thinking about how does the everyday person understand algorithms. And like so far people are talking about it as like this modern myth. That's like what one academic says. And
Oh, it's very
it
Roland Barthes the way we talk about
Yeah.
The way we talk about algorithms, yeah.
Like even like the algorithm as like a capital A, like
Exactly.
its own thing. And like on lesbian TikTok, this is one quick thing and I'll stop.
No, go,
On
go.
lesbian
You're on a
TikTok,
roll.
what I want to write about, what I've talked about is that there's like three important things to pay attention to. There's like the memes, you could call them memes, whatever, or tropes. The tropes that's like TikTok knew I was gay, like the ones that are like, it took me 26 years to know I was gay, but it took the TikTok app 26 minutes. Or like there's other really funny ones, we using like a video clip and it says, "You are gay." But then there's also the ones that talk about TikTok made me gay, where they talk about kind of experiences, or they just like a funny thing about how TikTok made them gay by watching all of these queer content creators. And then like the third important facet to look at with all of these things is like shadow banning, right? Because it's not just, I mean, I guess that's not that, well, that is a narrative because there are queer creators who talk about, I'm being banned or I'm being shadow banned on TikTok because because the algorithms are biased and they think that I'm doing something inappropriate, when in fact I'm just like displaying my fat queer body or my fat,
Yeah.
like this happens even more to people of color. So anyway, I think
Like
algorithms are really important to understand through folklore.
hashtag fake body.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the agency that's ascribed to the capital A algorithm, especially like in queer TikTok, where it's like, oh no, the algorithm thinks I'm a lesbian. I've seen that comment like lots of times. You know what I mean? Um, to which like my question would be, the algorithm thinks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, did you see those recent news articles about like the Google engineer who was fired because he says the Google language LMDA or whatever, I forget, the
Yeah.
language chatbot is sentient?
Yeah.
Which I totally like the language algorithm. I like, I don't know. There's a part of me that's I'm kind of, well, I'm very gullible, but I also like kind of believe in, I'm probably going to use this word wrong, superstitious things, even though I don't think so. I don't know.
I mean, I know some people just say superstitious. You could just say folk belief, but there is an element of suspicion of others in
Yeah.
superstitious, which I think is really interesting too. So it might just depend on what you're trying to convey.
Even if you're trying to convey something's like immaterial,
Yeah.
there still is like some sort of aspect where like that's our domain traditionally as scholars of expressive culture, the immaterial. We love that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a part of, there's like a lot of folklore that I don't actually know, and I kind of like so far stick to the folk life side, but my sisters, I'm okay, so not necessarily superstitious, but I am a big scare baby, cry baby. What do you call it when you're really afraid of
Scaredy
things?
cat?
Scaredy cat. Yeah, I'm a big scaredy cat,
Scare
and so they
baby.
like
You got
whenever they
that.
want to, yeah, whenever they want to scare me, they know exactly what to tease me about. What like folk belief things. Anyway, let's not talk about it. It's dark in my apartment.
Daisy, do you want to ask the first funsy question?
Funsy question.
We
Hell
got we
yeah,
got like
I
four
do.
funsy questions for you.
Oh
Thank
shit!
you for
I'm
being all
sorry I've been
academic.
going on so much.
Forget all about being academic. Let's go. Oh, hold on. We got a new chat command. Exclamation point, send in the shadow walkers. Interesting. I wonder what
Oh
that's
my
about.
god, that's
Oh
my
my gosh.
sister. Those are my sisters.
you have
That's
you
like,
have hey,
Oh my
hey,
gosh.
Molly's sisters, welcome to the chat. You fit right in.
here it goes.
Hell yeah. You see, they already picked up on the chat folklore. They get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Molly, I have a funsy question for you.
Okay.
What's the most Sigogglin thing your string band ever did?
Oh my god. um. uh, oh my gosh, I don't know. Probably like, I'm like even embarrassed to say. Probably the most Sigogglin thing that we did was like actually put out anything professional, which was not professional. Like
That's awesome.
have
Yeah.
a nice video or shit like that. Meaning like it's good to laugh at yourself because and not take yourself too seriously. Everything is a little crooked.
Yeah, exactly.
crooked being the.
Sigogglin.
There we go.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
Ireland.
working the definition in. Very good
There you go.
answer. You mentioned this a little bit while we were playing the game. But Molly, what's your favorite pottery disaster that you've created?
Oh, ha 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 ha. Okay, so I made this one vase kind of thing, this one pot, and I was like, I think like a lot of potters who are not professional, we just like look at Instagram, and now my Instagram is all pottery. And so I like will take techniques from there and try them out. And I tried this one where you like make lines, and I was like, this looks stupid, and I put some curves in it, and I'm like working real hard thinking like I'm an art student. And then I take a step back and I'm like, this is a vase full of butts. This just looks like butts. And it's probably my biggest fail, but also my biggest win, I think.
Oh, well, I was gonna ask actual favorite, but it sounds like you got them both in one.
Yeah.
I think that vase is like I could be your angle or your devil.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, here's the question I've been dying to ask, Molly. Which corny line from an underpaid voice actor who is trying their best in a Nancy Drew video game has forever dug a hole in your brain?
That is so good, and I would love to know what the chat says, like especially my sisters. But I'll tell you, and this also has to do with being a scaredy cat. It's the scary it's a scary moment that's like, what do you call it in a narrative that's like at the point of tension, the
climax was what
it's the climax, yeah.
what Bayonetta would say.
Yeah,
what Nightbot didn't allow us to say at first.
The move is called the bullet climax. Come on, Nightbot. Anyway.
And I would say it's I can't remember the line totally, but it's either like, it's Shorty or here's Shorty.
I think it's here's Shorty. That's what Chad is shouting.
Okay, yeah, here's Shorty. I think it's a play on that movie that that famous movie where
Here's Johnny.
Yeah, I think it's a play on Shining, that, but yeah. In this sense, I think she's like in a cave or a coal mine. So.
And who's saying that line?
Well, Shorty.
Shorty. Okay, perfect.
Oh my God, Shorty says. I mean, I guess.
Well, Jack says here's Johnny in The Shining, so I was a little confused.
Oh yeah, no, Shorty. Yeah, he's one of the characters. I mean, I don't want to give too much away.
Yes. Which Nancy Drew game is that?
My sisters, they could probably, what is like something like Shadow Creek, what is chat saying anything?
Chat is saying people are joining hands and forming a human chain outside as we speak.
That is very good also. I do very much love
the couple of lines. Oh, sorry, go Dave.
No, I don't think I should say what my brain just put together in my
head.
Oh,
now you got exclamation point enlightenment.
I did read the quote, people are joining hands and forming a human chain outside as we speak, as what my brain wanted to say is, I love when people make chains of flesh. So I'm sorry, I think I have to leave.
Great, Daisy. You're on timeout.
I have to leave.
You're on timeout.
The human centipede, that's what I think of.
I'm sorry.
The two lines that I've never played a Nancy Drew, but of course I know the voice lines that are like infamous and famous. Oh, thank you, T-Pop.
Wait, we have a chat command? I forgot.
Oh, we've got a chat command, Diz.
We have a chat command that's exclamation point flesh belt that triggers the response, Dom, get a crop top.
I'm just gonna start cutting my shorts cutting my shirts till you stop that.
Cut your shirts.
But what's the iconic line? It looks like someone just served my worst nightmare up on a plate.
Oh my God, that's very good also.
Nancy Drew?
Is that a Nancy Drew?
I don't know. To be honest, I'm not the best at remembering like lyrics, and to me that's like lyrics.
Sure.
But,
yeah. And then have you seen the Game Grumps play Nancy Drew on their YouTube channel? Where the whole playthrough they just kept quoting like the rancher guy and going, a fired and a missed. I don't know if you know which one that is, but
I don't know. There's a couple rancher ones.
A mist. Yeah, chat is already going mist.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of chat, this last funsy question is for the chat. And that is convince, as we call them, the Academy. Esteemed members of the Academy. Convince the esteemed members of the Academy that Oregon is the place to go for your UFO tourism and not New Mexico.
Okay, well, what? Okay, let me start with a question.
Oh,
What
I'm in the hot
is...
seat now.
There is only one answer to this song. What is the best song in the world that has relevance every era? I'll give
Okay,
you
like
the answer.
every era to UFOs or every era in
No,
general?
The
in
human
general, in
existence.
general.
I'm
In
gonna say
general.
Macarena.
Oh, the Macarena. Yep, Macarena. Final answer. $1, Bob.
Final answer incorrect.
No.
It is Four Non-Blondes. What's up? Hey, what's up? Or whatever that song.
Yes!
And let me
That's
tell
true.
you,
That's
the
true.
reason why you want to go to the UFO Fest in Oregon is because they party at their UFO Fest. They will have a band, and you will sit in a tent drinking UFO themed drinks.
Cool.
And then this local
is so
band
cool.
will play. What's the song called?
I think
Hey,
it's just-
What's up?
What's up?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not called What's Up. It's called something else, right?
And a heart getting outside, and I take a deep breath, and I get real high.
Oh, it is called What's Up. Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Yeah, it's a
Come on, Daisy.
I-
Daisy, I'm the song title
Okay.
rememberer of the team.
I
So-
know
so-
that that's the core line. I just
That's
didn't know
my
if
link.
that
That's my
makes
new
it to
LinkedIn.
the-
That's my new LinkedIn. It's a public folklorist educational streamer, song title rememberer.
Yes.
So you will be at this UFO Fest, and they will start to play this song, and you're drinking your Mars Garita.
Oh boy.
And everybody in the tent will start to sing along, and you will too. And you'll be like, if I don't know a euphoric fieldwork moment, then I don't know a euphoric fieldwork moment, because that is how UFOs should be enjoyed.
Have you ever been to Country Fair? Oregon Country Fair?
It's really sad that you say that. I had plans, but I didn't end up going this year, so I have not, but I heard it's amazing.
Oh my god. Well, if you ever get the opportunity to go in the future, the thing you can't miss. Now I'm going to tell you because the thing that you just said reminded me of this. You cannot miss taking advantage of the sauna in the public shower in the middle of the day. I know, you're like,
Is
why
this
would
the
I wanna
Ottoman
go?
Empire? No, this sounds luxurious as fuck.
You're like, why would I want to go to the public shower at a huge festival? Because there's a public shower with scorching hot water there.
Love it.
Everybody is naked. No one cares. And then there's a concert stage in the middle of the naked zone.
What?
So the
What?
band,
In Oregon?
yes, at Oregon Country Fair. There's like a venue inside the sauna, which you pay $8. You can stay all day. No one is like checking. You could be there all day if you wanted. The band plays to a crowd of naked people.
Is the
Very
band
cool.
naked?
They could be. They're usually not, but they could be.
That seems
But
like
the-
they're
the
overdressed for the
audience-
party.
But the audience is naked, and in that moment, they do experience the real life version of don't worry about like being nervous to perform in front of a crowd. Picture everyone naked, and then everyone's actually naked. So that's like one layer
That's
of it.
cool.
It's so
That
cool.
is
It's like
hilarious.
hands down. It's to me hands down the best part of Oregon Country Fair.
Has
Totally
B&L ever
underrated.
played Oregon Country Fair? Chat wants to know.
Has a bare
Have you
naked
seen Bare
ladies
Naked
play?
Ladies at Oregon Country Fair?
I have not. But the thing that reminded me of that is that there are also 2 saunas in there as well. So there's like a public shower, which is literally just like hot showers, and then there's a sauna house, and you walk in and everyone is singing in the sauna, like folk tunes or hymns or
Oh my
something
God, like-
that like the group can get around, and there's like people who just start it, and oh my god, it was like a magical experience. So
Okay, I was.
I don't know what it is with festivals in Oregon and group singing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
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 Maybe they're
yes,
singing the Four Non Blondes.
Yeah.
That
Oh
would
my
be
god,
great.
That
That
would
would
be
be
cool.
collective effervescence.
I would totally
Dissertation.
go.
Come
I would totally
on.
go.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Daisy.
Oh my god, I
Um,
cannot. It is
I was
too.
thinking,
No,
what's
you
the
gotta
question for
this.
Chad here? What's the most S tier like group sauna sing along song? And maybe it's because I'm talking to a graduate of Memorial University, but I think you could really throw down on like some Stan Rogers in the sauna. I think
Oh my god.
that
That's
would hit
hilarious.
Yeah.
That
That's
would be
really
pretty
funny.
awesome.
I don't know. I have to say, I am like really moved by what's going on because I
Yeah.
actually listened to the lyrics again. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, this is like our time of like neoliberalism and like Trump and like all the like even Biden and the pandemic. I was like, I just want to go outside or maybe in a sauna and scream, "What's going on?"
Yeah. Especially that it's like from 1994 or whatever, so it's really like seeing the way the winds are blowing in that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Congratulations for getting through your interview questions, both serious and funsy.
Oh, thank you to the sleuths.
The
The
Sleutherinos.
Yeah.
beautiful,
Those sleuths.
intrepid, infallible sleuths.
Oh, I
Oh
wouldn't go as far.
yeah.
Oh, I can't believe Daisy said infallible. I don't endorse that. There one last thing real quickly, and you've been on the show before, but Daisy should still ask you the question.
Have you ever made a tier list?
Well, I've watched you guys make one, but
Not the same. Not the same.
I have not myself.
Wonderful. You now get the opportunity to make a tier list. For people who are watching the show who don't know what we're about to do, we're gonna make a tier list, which is a thing that comes from fighting games to rank characters.
Oh, Daisy, and it's Evo this weekend, so it is like the World Cup of fighting games. So how appropriate to do a tier list?
How appropriate. Yes. Very appropriate to do a tier list. So you rank characters that you might fight with on a scale of S to D, S being superior, number one, superb, the best, ultimate, beyond the beyond, and D being absolute trash, dumpster fire, whatever bad D word you'd like to assign that category. But typically on Twitch, people use them these days to rank things that are just parts of everyday life, which is what we like to do because it's folklore. So we have designed a tier list for you, specifically around most iconic things about Michigan.
I love it.
Are you again, Sleuth Chrissy and me are you had to turn to a Toledoan for this, but I've got a little bit of experience and Chrissy knows what she's talking about. So here are our most iconic things about Michigan tier list. Are you ready?
Yes.
First off, and my younger brother goes to the UP every summer. Pasties.
Pasties. I'm gonna say C because they're never good, but they're like also iconic, and I can't.
Chat.
Who disagrees? Fight me.
Chat.
Okay,
If you
but what'd you
disagree,
say? Okay, now wait, I'm curious. What other pocket type,
thank you, Tommy.
pocket based snack is superior? Is there one that's superior? You just not like them
hello?
all around empanadas or like
Pizza
pierogies
rolls.
or pizza roll? Okay.
Ooh. Speaking of Sleuth Chrissy, she sent me a TikTok that was your pizza based on your sign, and Pisces were pizza rolls. And I still don't know how to feel about it.
Shit.
I'm a Pisces moon, so that makes sense for
You're
me.
a pizza roll moon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Pizza roll moon.
Well, next you already brought this up, and I could not believe you already brought it up. But I'm talking about Coney's Island. I'm talking about Coney Islands, Coney dogs, Conies. In Canada, they call them Michigan styles. How are we doing this? Yeah, they do.
Wow. I didn't know that, and I feel like I should because I've lived in Ontario and Newfoundland. Obviously. Coney dogs.
Oh, I am
this
saying
is hard.
this from my. Okay, pause. Maybe it's just Quebec because my ex's family in Quebec learned that I studied Michigan style and they loved it.
That's really cool. Okay, this is hard because I'm vegetarian, but I also can appreciate meat dishes. So I think I'm gonna have to say S.
Oh shit, we got a straight
Right.
to S.
That's right.
Straight to
I
S.
love
Do you
it.
disagree? What does chat think?
I think chat says Coney's
chat?
fuck me up, so I think
Yeah,
we're
I
doing
was like,
good.
the only comment, on the conies is fuck me up. So
In a good way or a bad way?
I would, from the person it is, I would assume a good way.
Oh, okay, yeah. And maybe I am only putting them at S because I never eat them, but I would eat one the second if I
You've
could.
never had the displeasure of like Coney heartburn, so that's why they're going in S.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up is the building, the Secretary of State.
Oh god. Okay, so initially I want to. Oh my god.
I actually, and maybe don't explain this and just let non-Michiganders figure this one out.
It's hard because
I like
what?
that I like that you've been asked to compare a building to food.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Talking Heads. It's more tier list about buildings than food.
I get it. Yeah.
I think. Okay, I think I'm gonna put it in C behind pasties.
Mm-hmm.
Only it should go in D, but only because I'm like really nostalgic. Even though I just moved to Lansing, I'm really nostalgic for like anything that is like horrible.
Okay, now you can tell it. What do you call the Secretary of State in any other state?
What?
Like what would people in any other state call this building that people in Michigan call the Secretary of State? You can reveal.
Oh, I don't actually know.
Like
What do they call
the
it?
DMV.
Oh, yeah, the DMV. That's what it's called in Oregon. I totally
yeah.
like.
Michigan's the only place
Wait,
that
I'm
goes.
sorry. You said that it's the DMV. That's what it's called in Oregon. It's called that like everywhere else, or the DMV,
DMV?
or the BMV. The
Yeah,
Bureau
but in
of
Michigan,
Vehicle.
the Secretary of State.
Yeah,
Two
I
words:
forgot about that.
Secretary of State.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I read that and I was like, what? I did an iconic what? Like,
That makes me kind of want to put it higher, but I'm gonna keep it there.
Yeah, no, it still sucks. Next up, there are in near White Springs where the folk festival is. There's a billboard that says like 1,200 miles. You're almost there. Frankenmuth, Michigan.
Oh my god. This is also, I feel like maybe all of my Lansing things will be like due to nostalgia and not actual like reality.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put fuck man. Either A or B, but I think I think I have to put it in B.
And why is the quaint town of Frankenmuth only a B and not an A? What's keeping it?
Because it's so has anybody in chat or have either of you been to Frankenmuth?
Every Christmas as a kid, like every mid-December as a kid. Yep.
Okay,
I don't
so
know
you get
anything
it.
about this. I don't know anything about this.
My dad,
It's
my dad got asked to be quiet at fucking what's the chicken place called?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't remember.
My dad once was asked by the manager of a restaurant to be quiet when he was yelling about politics in Frankenmuth.
Oh my god. It's basically a town that consists of a giant Christmas store and then like one restaurant that serves by famous I mean this is just like what you do after you go to the Christmas store,
You get
chicken
You
dinners.
get chicken dinner. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like cute, but then also it's like anytime you go shopping with your family it's horrible. So and it's also Christmas stuff. It's like maybe fun as a kid, but if you're like a Christmas kid, but
Jada December, who's from Southern Indiana, says Frankenmuth is just diet Santa Claus. Frankenmuth and Santa Claus are both Christmas towns, but they're so different you can't compare them.
I was gonna say, is this anything like Santa Claus, Indiana? Because
it's very much
I know
Santa
more
Claus,
about
Indiana for
that,
people who
but-
don't shout when they're excited.
Oh, okay.
Dom, so where would you put Frankenmuth? D?
No, I think B might be appropriate.
Hmm.
No, yeah, the Secretary of State being higher than that sounds a little.
Yeah, it's not.
Somehow.
It's higher than the Secretary of State. Yeah. Next up, we're kind of in the places subsection. Next up is Mackinac Island.
Okay, I think I don't know. What the fuck? I'll just put it as S.
Yeah, S behind Coney Island. Of
Yeah,
your
fully.
islands, Mackinac and Coney.
Yeah, yeah, seriously. Like fully with the acknowledgement that Mackinac Island is touristy and like bougie, but it's also just fun. And I have
Yeah.
great memories hanging out with my sisters there, so
Hell yeah.
yeah.
And the last kind of place we have is the Traverse City National Sherry Festival.
Oh. I kind of I this is my Lansing bias.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. I want to put this really low because I'm like, ugh, Traverse City is too like sophisticated. Um, no, I'm gonna put it at B. I'm gonna put it in B before Frankenmuth.
Be before Frankenmuth. You've come down hard on Traverse City over Frankenmuth.
Yeah,
My uncle
yeah,
lives in Traverse City. I
yeah.
can agree with this. Yeah.
Really, you could?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Frankenmuth is like you said. It's like you always go to Frankenmuth, like yay Christmas. By the end, you're like, that was a grueling experience, and I heard some things I can't unhear from my family while we were exhausted. Yeah,
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
it's like IKEA. It's like IKEA, but maybe even worse because
maybe
it's
even
Christmas
worse
themed.
because yeah, your godfather Angelo buys you like fucking bootleg Game Boy Color games that are like the Book of Exodus, and they glitch out
Oh
at
my
the fifth
god.
level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh my
Uh,
god.
Next up, Chrissy had to make sure we put this on. Is Jiffy Mix.
Tiffy is from Michigan?
Jiffy's from Michigan.
Okay, that has to go S at the top.
Oh,
Yeah.
no hesitation. Hell
No
yeah.
hesitation.
No hesitation. Jiffy Mix number one.
No hesitation.
Kind of how the North knows cornbread.
Yeah,
Hundred
100%.
percent. And
Dang, I want to make more cornbread now. I made some
get
last
some
week. And
Jiffy
now I'm like,
Mix.
I should go get some Jiffy
A
Mix.
Jiffy Mix.
I'm thinking about it.
Do you have another? Oh
Burners.
yeah. Next up is Verner's. The other. I mean, you could almost say Verner's is a folk medicine, but the other iconic Michigan foodway.
Oh, God. It's between A and the top of B. And I think I have to say the top of B. I love Verner's because my grandma always had it, but I just don't like the taste of it. And it, as ginger sodas go, it's just doesn't measure up to Canadian Dry. So
The iconic ginger soda. I love how they always call
I
it a ginger
agree.
soda.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
yeah,
Next up, you might have to explain this to people who have never been there, but the Michigan left.
the Michigan left. Instead of taking an actual left, you have to turn right, and then there'll be like a little turn place in the median to turn left. So you have to like backtrack before you can actually turn left. And this definitely
Ooh.
goes into D.
Oh my god, there's one of those in Columbus, and I'm always like, wow, someone designed the roads really bad right here. This is definitely trying to make it work.
I don't
I didn't know.
understand the
This is like,
function.
it seems like an old town trying to fix it kind of thing. I don't know. A town built up too fast. I don't really know. I'm
Mm.
curious. I'm curious if there is a reason for it, or like if it's a distinction between like a main road and a residential or something, or like if there's a
Not really.
I don't know. It's
Sounds
all over
awful.
Michigan, and
Yeah.
it is. I
Terrible,
forgot.
terrible. Well,
Being
it's
in
funny
Oregon, I
too.
forgot.
That's funny too. Now that I'm gonna start calling this one road that, because Columbus and OSU people and like Michigan,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. So like it's
Certain
funny
weeks
that like
of the year you have to call it the
you can't.
Michigan left. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So I'm
yeah.
like, I'm curious now. I'm gonna keep a watch on it, see if like that intersection gets tagged with red X's over M's or whatever.
Just red X over the whole
Oh.
intersection.
Over the whole
Yeah.
intersection.
And then next up we've got the Detroit RoboCop statue.
Oh my gosh, I actually don't know this.
It I think in the pandemic they had to take it out of the science the Michigan Science Museum or whatever that is in Detroit. But yes, there because RoboCop is the Detroit is the setting of the film RoboCop. There is a
Oh.
RoboCop statue in the fair city of Detroit.
And it came from the Michigan Science Museum.
It was housed there for a few years. Yeah, I think it got like crowdfunded. I think it was like one of the biggest Kickstarters of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
RoboCop.
I don't know. I don't have anything in A. I think I might put it in A just to fill A up. I literally don't have an opinion. I
It's a
hate
smooth
to
A.
say it, but
Well, I just like the commitment to the bit. You know what I mean? I love how Detroit's leaned into the dystopia that takes place. I think about 10 years from now or something. Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah, seriously.
the last one for you is the Michigan Fiddlers Association.
Oh God, this is so hard to rate as well.
I hope so.
I feel like it's either like I'm gonna say this and then I think I know what my decision will be because of it.
Okay.
It's either like A or C, or I was originally gonna say like S or D, but
Oh my
because I
God.
said that, I think I have to put it in A behind RoboCop.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the split feeling about it?
Well,
If you can share.
and truthfully, I haven't been to a Michigan Fiddlers Association thing in a long, long time. But there's a specific type of music played there, and it's not this like the spirit is not the same as like rough and rowdy old time music from Appalachia and the
Mhm.
South, which
Mhm.
can be more fun to jam to. But also there's like a lovely
Is that a
supportive.
cattail?
Oh, is that a cat
Yeah.
sighting?
Sorry, I was like, is that a cattail?
Yeah, my cat, whose name is Banjo, wants attention.
Hell yeah, banjo cat, let's go.
No, we're talking
Yeah.
fiddles, banjo. We can't cross streams
Yeah.
like that.
Scat, get out of here.
No, show
No, but
up.
there's like it's a lovely supportive community for largely for like aging people. So I think in that sense it's like kind of cute.
Sure.
Yeah.
Also, my
Oh.
experience with old time music in Florida, but
Yeah,
Tommy.
I want to ask you where you would rate it, but I also don't because you have a job and like
oh, I wouldn't know. I'd have to
okay,
meet more
yeah.
fiddlers from Michigan. I mean, I know you. I know a cellist from Michigan. Uh, that's about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
but
don't want to throw down on this.
if it was like the Florida Old Time
Florida Old Time
Association.
Fiddlers Association, where would you
Yeah.
rank that? Your comparable organization?
Can't answer that on stream.
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly, I would have put Secretary of State higher. I know it's a hell site where you wait in line, but I just think it's hysterical that you call it that.
Well, the other thing, I mean, I don't know, I can't like totally see this picture, but it's like if it's the one that I'm thinking of, it's like close, it's in this like no man's land area that is like right outside of this like super old what do you call it, like strip mall. It's
Yeah.
called Frandor, and everybody in Lansing, it's like a thing online too, like talking and joking about Frandor. There's like a Sears that has finally gone away, just like random huge parking lots. But I'll tell you, after being gone from Lansing for 3 years, like the one thing that hasn't changed is Frandor
Hell
and this
yeah.
like grody strip mall. So, and I think like one of the Secretary of States are like outside of Frandor, so for that reason alone, it should be Baby Lake S, but it is the Secretary of State.
No one
So
likes going.
Like
Yeah.
it's
My
like
my
a-
my brother in the Toledo punk band once did a tour of like dilapidated spaces across the Rust Belt. So like I forget where their Detroit show was, but they did break into like the Adrian, Michigan Mall. Yeah. And they played in a lot of parking lots of abandoned strip malls where one business was open. It was there's a video they shot on this tour, which is really cool. But yeah,
wow, that is so cool. You should drop
yeah.
some links.
I'll try to find it. Or God, I can't remember what the song is called. I'll drop a link.
Drop a link.
I'll post in the Discord later.
Cool.
Anyway,
Are you gonna try to encapsulate this?
yeah, I'm gonna say
Whoa! Thanks for the bits, friends.
Thank you for the bits, Tommy and Deathy. Okay. Here we have it, people. Your official Molly McBride iconic things in Michigan tier list on a scale from Jiffy Mix to the Michigan left. How bewildered do you make a Southerner?
That's pretty good.
Okay, great. I think it's very
than anything I was thinking.
it's very Michigan too.
Yeah.
That means there's only one thing left for you to do, chat. Thank you for all your subs and your bits during the interview. I love it when the little noise comes up. But there's only one thing left for you to do. As Molly has the opportunity to tell us where we can find you, do whatever plugs and where people can say hi to you online. And while Molly's doing that, ladders in the chat. As many ladders as you got. If you don't have emotes, give us a nice healthy GG. Molly, where can people find you as the ladders roll in?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Gerg23, baby.
Gerg23.
You can also find you in chat, especially whenever we play The Sims, as Gerg.
Yeah, and I just want to say also, thank you both for hosting, having me on, and it's been so fun to chat with you all. Like, it was a great Tuesday night. So thank you to Dom and Daisy, to Folkwise, to the Sleuths, to the chat. I'm so thankful for your conversation as well. So
Hear that, chat? Do you hear that, chat?
This is really fun.
Sounds awesome. I'm having a great time. So as
honestly,
we said,
like Tuesday nights for me, like just hanging out, learning more about my folklore friends has just been a tremendous improvement, medicine, assistance to my mental health
and
during
everyone,
a lot of these times. It's really cool.
A lot of people we ask, and you're just like, I don't know what I'm gonna say, or like what.
And we're like, you are
really
an interesting
guest. Everyone is so interesting.
Everyone is like really cool.
I mean, thank you, Sleuths. You find interesting stuff from everyone, but everyone is so interesting.
Yeah,
I think that's totally a credit to your team, your Sleuths, but like your whole entire team who like bring this to life, because you guys make it easy to like say things.
Thanks, Molly.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting this like wonderful, cool thing out in the world.
Yeah.